Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, everyone. Good morning,
Good
kings
morning.
and queens. How are you feeling this Monday morning? How is the atmosphere around you? I tend to believe that it is okay. You see, time moves very fast that we are in August. This is the 8th month. I welcome you all to the month of August. I welcome you all to Power Monday. As the name suggests, we are the Powerhouse. We meet every single Monday from 7:15 to 8:15, but the room is always open early at 7 so that you can join in and talk. We discuss various topics that are personal development oriented. And who knows, you might make your million here. We not only meet virtually, we meet physically, meet and greet. And our last meet and greet is culminated with a dinner. And in October, we are going to have a dinner. And on top of that, we usually have a poem that sets the pace for the speaker to come in. And today's poem is titled The Clock, My Clock, because it's been moving very fast. The other day we were wishing each other Happy New Year, and now we are here in August. The clock, my clock, is it mine or yours also? The clock ticks on, I barely see, a moment is gone, no time to play, it moves, while I just let things be. I chase a minute, I chase an hour. It runs very fast. I blink, the daylight's past. What now? What's going to last longer? You see, the morning is here, the night comes. I had a plan, I lost a fight. Time stole my chance. I don't know. It's my clock. It's moving very fast. I hold hands, time slips through my fingers. I measure a day, maybe in a crooked line. I should put a straight line because you see, the future is mine. Each second is a whisper very slowly that I just can't hear it. It passes me by. My clock, the clock, and I still ask, where did time go? The clock, my clock, doesn't care. It keeps moving. It keeps marching as I just stare. Am I making use of my time? Because time is slipping away and age is catching by. But I tend to age like fine wine because it gets better with time. My clock, the clock is moving. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was such an awesome poem. Thank you so much, Dr. Lucita, for gracing us with a poem every other Monday. We really appreciate you. Asante sana. By the way, how is it even August? Like just the other day, it was January, and today is August. Okay. So I call upon Odhiambo Lale to introduce the speaker of the day today.
Good morning. We have a speaker who is KK. KK, his full name is Kiriinya Kithinji. I'm straining to read his bio because that print is so small, so I'll remove my glasses. I'm the same person. Don't think that I'm a different person without my glasses. Yeah, so our guest speaker today, Mr. Kiriinya Kithinji, is an expert in strategy, entrepreneurship, development, and finance, currently serving as the consulting director at Wide International, which supports small and medium enterprises, SMEs. He began his career at Barclays Bank, now Absa Bank Limited, gaining experience gaining extensive experience over 14 years before moving to private equity as credit manager at Fusion Capital Limited, where he excelled in deal sourcing and risk assessment. Kiriinya's expertise has benefited various high-profile clients, including community linking, enterprise entrepreneurship, and agriculture development, and GTZ GmbH, notably through training initiatives in agribusiness and credit risk management. His work with the Africa Agribusiness Academy led to business modeling training for over 60 agri-food industry associations across Nigeria, Tanzania, and Ethiopia. As a strategy and finance consultant, Kiriinya has engaged with over 300 small and medium enterprises in the last 12 years, focusing on strategy development, financial management, and operational sources. For the past 3 years, he has been a key mentor in World Resources Institute's Africa Restoration cohorts. Finally, his comprehensive approach encompassing training, coaching, and strategy guidance has made a significant impact on both Kenyan and African businesses. It's a long CV, but I think he still has a lot more to tell us. So karibu, Mr. Kithinji.
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me, Paul.
Oh yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
We can hear you and see you.
All right, so let me share my screen. Let me know whether you can see my screen.
Yeah, we can see your screen, and a few people were excited that they school with you at some point. So yeah, you will see them. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I can see them on board. We'll have a chat about that. So our topic today is strategy. That's what we're discussing. But before we do that, I'd like to ask a few questions to the audience. My first question is that one. How many business owners practice strategy? Is it 30%? Is it 70%? Is it 100%? How many, especially SMEs? How many practice strategy? Is it 30%, 70%, or 100%? Oh, please read the responses for me.
Yeah, Emma Kari says A, that is 30%. And Wanjiku also says 30%. Devin Dolo 30%. Eva Washira 30 or less. The farmerman produced another choice that is 10%.
Well,
many people seem to agree that it's 30% or less.
It's around 30%.
Yeah,
okay.
It's less than 10%.
Less than 10%. Yeah, okay. All right, let's move on then. Yeah. Next question. When was the last time you did strategy for your business?
Okay.
When was the last time you did a strategy for your business?
They are still thinking. Okay, somebody said not yet. Less than a year ago, when Jico, that's good. Somebody 2014.
Less than a year ago.
Somebody never.
Never.
There is there is somebody who is still on question 100%. I don't know. First quarter of the year, when I was starting in December, yearly. Somebody says always. Yeah.
Okay. Well, just allow us to move on. So the ones who did strategy, what difference did it make for your business? Was it positive? Was it neutral? Was it negative?
I think that's the most important question now.
Yes, isn't it?
Okay.
The ones who did strategy for their business, did it, what difference did it make? Was it positive? Was it neutral? Or was it negative?
Yeah, so Emma Carey says the first time the impact was great, meaning the other
Uh-huh.
times maybe not. Jointly positive. The Rotarian Mugo says positive. Somebody is also still answering. Yeah, it's A, positive. Give me
Uh-huh.
clarity of give me clarity of direction.
Mhm.
Positive, you are able to see if you are attained or not. Exposure, travel,
Mhm.
travel,
Mhm.
whatever opportunities. Positive, very
Mhm.
positive. Yes.
Very well. Okay, so we'll move on. Thank you very much for those who've responded. So just allow me to move on again because of time. Okay, so what is strategy then? Every time you hear the word strategy, you're actually dealing with the word response. You're responding to what? To a challenge or an opportunity. So every time you hear the word strategy, you're dealing with response. Response does not mean reacting. It means response. So you're responding to a challenge or opportunity. Every time you think about strategy, especially in the space of business strategy, you're dealing with a response to a challenge or an opportunity. Now, that challenge or opportunity could be internal or external, or future, present or future. So you can see where we are as far as strategy is concerned. It's a response to a challenge or challenges and opportunities. Now, those challenges and opportunities can be internal or external. They can be present or future. So that's a space of strategy. Now, if you look at it that way, would you like to respond to change your responses? The first question, how many SMEs practice strategy? The correct answer should be 100%. That is the correct answer. Why? Because they're always responding to challenges and opportunities. And those challenges, whether they're present or future, internal or external, is neither here nor there. But that is just the nature of business. So if you're a business owner, you are already in the space of strategy. The only difference is whether you're doing it right or wrong. I'll repeat myself. If you are a business owner, if you're running a business of whatever kind, you're already in the space of strategy because you're always responding to challenges and opportunities, whether they are present or future or internal or external. You're always responding to challenges and opportunities. The only difference is whether you're doing it right or wrong. So then, what's strategy? Now, let's narrow down our definition. Strategy deals with the decisions or choices that you need to make today so that you can extract future value for your business. That's what strategy is. It's about making decisions or choices today so that you extract future value for your organization. A few points about strategy. Before I move to those few points about strategy, now those decisions that you make, remember we are responding to challenges or opportunities. Now, you can respond in a way that creates value. You can respond in a way that is value neutral, in neither creating nor destroying value. And you can destroy in a way that is, you can respond rather in a way that is value destroying. So we are talking about strategy being the decisions you need to make today to extract future value for your business. And those decisions can be what? They can be value creating, they can be value neutral, or even value destroying. Now, you cannot avoid doing strategy if you're running a business because you're always responding to challenges and opportunities. Now, good statement right there. The absence of strategy is itself a strategy. So don't say, I don't do strategy, or it's reserved for the big companies, those big banks, those international banks, or those huge corporations out there. The absence of a strategy is itself a strategy. So don't say, I don't do strategy for my business. You're just simply telling me your strategy is not to have a strategy. I don't have a problem with that, but is it working for you? Is it working for you? The absence of a strategy is itself a strategy. All right, so now let's move on. Now that you know that you're in the space of strategy, you're running a business by default. So what do you need to do to make sure that you have a great strategy for your business? What do you need to do to make sure that you have a proper strategy for your business? Now you need to answer 8 questions, and I'll spend the rest of the time putting those questions across to you, and you may want to think about them as I present them to you. So let's move to question number 1. First question, what problem are you solving in the market? What problem are you solving in the market? That's the first question that you need to answer. What problem are you solving in the market? It means the implication of that question is that a business is a problem-solving unit. It's not a product-selling unit. Or as those of us who are in services, I can see one of my friends is in here. No, we don't say a business is a problem-solving is a problem-solving unit. It's not a product or service-selling unit. So you need to be able to identify the problem that I have, assuming I'm your market. Yeah, what problem is it that I'm trying to solve? And how will you help me solve that problem? That's the first question. And it is a deliberate first question. If you don't start here, you will not be able to build a proper strategy for your business. So you start by asking yourself, what problem are you solving in the marketplace? Second question, is it a problem worth solving? Let's say you've set up a business to fix laptops, like the one I'm using right now. And for illustration purposes, maybe this is the only laptop in Kenya. This is the one that I'm using. Now, sincerely, you want to set up a business to fix only one laptop in the whole country? Well, that's just an example, of course. So always ask yourself, what problem am I solving in the market? And then the second question is it a problem worth solving? Is it a problem worth solving? That's a question very many business owners tend to ignore. Actually, they ignore the first one more. Now, this second one, they ignore even more than the first one, I think. Is it a problem worth solving? Second question, right? Third question, who is it that has the problem? Is it me? Is it my friend? Is it my children? Who is it that has the problem? Very, 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 very important question. So what problem are you solving in the market? Secondly, is it a problem worth solving? And the third question is, who is it that has the problem? We have 5 more questions left. Question number 4. These people who have the problem, what is it that is preventing them from solving the problem? What is it that is preventing them from solving the problem? You've identified the people with the problem. You figured out it's a problem worth solving. You've also identified the problem itself. But now, these people who you have identified, we call them the target market, technically. I call the target market. So what's preventing them from solving the problem? Now, I want to give us 4 common areas, 4 common obstacles or constraints that prevent people from solving their problem. First one is I have a problem to solve, but I don't have the time. I have a problem to solve, but I don't have the money. I have a problem to solve, but the location is too far off. You can imagine if that's your shop somewhere in the middle of the Sahara, even if you have a very, 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 very valuable product, how do you expect us to access your product if you have a shop somewhere in the middle of the Sahara? So location can be a constraint. And then maybe I have a problem to solve, but I don't have the skills. Those are the 4 main constraints or obstacles. So please, now let me emphasize here. The constraint is not the problem. The problem is very different. For instance, I want to grow tomatoes, but I don't have the skills or I don't have enough money. Maybe I want to acquire a college degree, but maybe I don't have the time or something like that. Or maybe I want to streamline the operations of my business, but I don't have the money. So you can hear there's a problem and there's a constraint. Now, I want to say this. A lot of business owners make the mistake of building their businesses around constraints or obstacles. So you say, I'm targeting people who don't have money. That is a constraint. But who don't have money when they're trying to solve which problem? Now that you're asking the right question. So those are the constraints. They are the common ones. Now, there could be another 20, another 30, another 1,000, but I've just listed the common ones so that you can make your decision faster. Remember, we said strategy is about making decisions that are value creating. So I want to grow tomatoes. I want to streamline my operations. I want to get a college degree, but I don't have the time. I don't have the money. Maybe it's inaccessible, or maybe I don't have the skills. Now, let me just focus a bit more on constraints. Now, when the constraint is time, you need to make your solution convenient. When the constraint is time, you need to make your solution convenient. Now, convenience means what? You give me what I want, when I want it, how I want it. That's what convenience means. Okay, that means the constraint is time, your solution needs to be convenient. Right? If the constraint is money, then your solution needs to be affordable, not cheap, affordable. Now, if the constraint is location, then your solution needs to be accessible. It needs to be accessible. And note, all of those are adjectives. Yeah, accessible, affordable, all of those are adjectives. Okay, if the constraint is skills, then your solution needs to be easy to use. If the constraint is skill, your solution needs to be easy to use. Let me repeat myself. The constraint is not the problem. It is just the obstacle that is preventing me from solving the problem. What I want to do is to streamline my business operations, whatever else you can think about, or to improve my health, whatever. Yeah. But I'm faced with a certain obstacle. Let me give examples of skills constraints, okay? Now, remember in the past, when you needed to check your blood pressure, you actually needed to go to a professional hospital. Nowadays, you don't. You just use a machine, yeah? But the problem you're solving is the same. You're checking your blood pressure. In the past, you'd go to a hospital or a professional facility. Nowadays, you buy a gadget, does a job for you. But the job is still the same. The only thing that has changed is a solution. You're checking your blood pressure. Again, if you needed to check your blood sugar levels, in the past, you needed to go to a lab, a professional again. But innovation has brought in a small gadget. It pierces your finger and it just tells you your blood sugar levels. But either way, the only thing that has changed is the technology through innovation, but the underlying problem is still the same. Whether you go to the lab or use this small gadget on the screen, the underlying problem is the same. You're checking your blood pressure. Oh, blood sugar rather. Okay. Now, we have done 4 questions. We've asked, what problem are you solving in the market? Is it a problem worth solving? Now, who is it that has a problem? And what is preventing them from solving the problem? Then you have the first deliverable of a good strategy. Those 4 components. What problem are you solving in the market? Is it a problem worth solving? Who is it that has a problem? Now, that target market, what is preventing them from solving the problem? Now you have the first deliverable of a good strategy. What is it called? It's called a value proposition. That's a value proposition. So it articulates, a value proposition articulates the specific outcomes or results that customers can expect from your product or service when they are faced with certain tasks or goals. That's a value proposition. It articulates the outcomes or results that customers can expect from your product when they are faced with certain tasks or goals. So for instance, if you go to the previous slide, I want to check my blood pressure. Okay, so what's your value proposition for me? Is that if you buy my gadget, yeah, it will give you an accurate measure of your blood pressure or blood sugar. So it's about outcomes. Value propositions are not about listing benefits, saying, oh, this thing is cheap, people like it, your neighbor will love it. That's not a value proposition. It's about an outcome. I have a problem to solve. I pull your solution into my life. What do I expect? What's the result that I expect? So value proposition is about the result that I should expect after I have consumed your product when I have a problem that I wanted to solve. That's a value proposition. Now, when it comes to value proposition, you need to ask yourself 3 questions. Number 1, do your customers want it? Now, Kenyans love using the word unique. And I think it's fine, but do your customers want it? But it's unique for who? It's unique for what? Yeah, so it's okay if it's unique, but do your customers want it? So my point is, please don't fall in love with your product. Let the market fall in love with your product. Don't fall in love with your product. Let the customers fall in love with it. So do your customers want your value proposition? Secondly, can you deliver it? We're talking about technical feasibility, yeah, and organizational feasibility. So do you have the organizational capabilities to deliver your value proposition? And then the third one, is it good for your business? Now, it's just a polite way of saying, are you going to make money? Is it profitable for you? So that's your value proposition. So that's the first deliverable of a strategy, a value proposition. It's about results. Do your customers want it? Can you deliver it? Is it good for your business? That's a first deliverable of a value proposition, of a good strategy. Second, now we're on question number 5. What aspects are critical for the delivery of the value proposition? What aspects are critical for the delivery of the value proposition? That's the second deliverable, incidentally, of a good strategy, is to figure out what is called what? Critical success factors. Critical success factors. What are we saying? Critical success factors are specific elements or activities that are deemed essential for your value proposition, for delivery of your value proposition. So they're very tied to your value proposition. So if you can't figure out your value proposition, you probably will not be able to figure out the critical success factors that are necessary for the delivery of that value proposition. And we're saying, if you don't know the problem you're solving, for who, that is the target market, and there are constraints, you can't even figure out what your value proposition should be. We're beating about the bush. So if you can't figure out your value proposition, which is the first deliverable of a strategy, then you cannot figure out what it will take to deliver the value proposition. You'll just be coming with general things like quality, efficiency. Now, those are too general, and they'll probably take you nowhere, even though the words sound nice and attractive. So let's figure out. Let's assume in the business of making bread. That's your business. All right. Now, the product features of that bread must nail the job or the problem that your target market is trying to solve. It's usually not that obvious. And the constraints. Yeah, that's the features of the bread or your product features must nail the job. The job is the problem I'm trying to solve as your client, and the constraints of the target market. But now for you to produce the bread, there has to be some form of what? Processing. Could be conversion or assembly, excuse me. Conversion simply means you put wheat flour on that corner, then on the other corner you get bread. What came in and what comes out is very different. That's why it's called conversion. Assembly is a little more easier. So you buy a banana, you buy a mango, you buy a pineapple, you chop them up, and then you give me in a bowl. It's called fruit salad. You can actually see the fruits there. That's an assembly. But for you to process well, what you do, how you do it, and the processing resources are very, very important. What you do, how you do it, and the processing resources are very, very important. But for you to process well, you need to have proper raw materials, which means you need to source well. So you can see how you arrive at your critical success factors. You're clear about how your solution should be, and then you figure out what will it take to deliver that solution. How do I need to process? What processing resources do I need? So let's move on. Question number 6. We have 2 more left. How will you survive competition? How will you survive competition? So remember we said at the beginning, strategy is about making choices. And one of the choices that you need to make is how you're going to survive competition. I was talking to a young man somewhere. He breeds chicken. He's a young man. He breeds chicken. And I asked him, now, who are your competitors? He told me, I'm the only one doing this in my area. Well, at that point, now who tells you that someone else will not come and figure out how to do the same thing? So it's always an important strategy question. How will you survive competition? Now, what I want to say is when you're thinking about competition, one of the biggest problems we have is that we have a very narrow view of competition. Very, very narrow view of competition. So I'd like to encourage you to broaden your view of competition. And I'll give you an example. Let's assume we're in the business of baking bread. Yeah, we are running a bakery and our work is to bake bread and to sell. So you can see there are very many competitors. Broadway, Superloaf, some I don't even know. Whoever, Festive, and even the supermarket themselves make their own bread. So already you can see as you're starting to do your bakery, you're not the only person who is baking bread. There are many others. These are 6 examples. Maybe there are 60 or 100. I don't know. You can see just how you're getting into a competitive space. But again, for illustration purposes only, let's assume that people buy bread to solve the breakfast problem. Of course, there are many reasons they buy bread, but for now, for the purposes of learning, let's assume that people buy bread to solve the breakfast problem. Now, you will notice that there are other ways of solving the breakfast problem. There are arrowroots, sweet potatoes, cassava, samosas, there's live mahindi ya kuchoma, and some will even go for leftovers. There you go. Now, because you thought your competitors are the other bakery who is doing bread like yourself, you have forgotten that people have other ways of solving the breakfast problem. In this example that we are working with, including leftovers and whatever else they use. So you can see competition comes from who? 2 areas. Who else is doing what you're doing? That's one. Then the other one is what? How else the problem can be solved. Is there another way of solving the problem other than taking bread, assuming we're running a bakery? That's a big one. And I'd like to wager that the biggest source of competition is not who else is doing what you're doing. It's how else the problem can be solved. So as a strategy practitioner, remember we said as a business owner, you're a strategy practitioner by default. As a strategy practitioner, you need to figure out how you are going to survive competition. Not just who else is doing what you're doing, but how else the problem can be solved. So that's competition. So how do you assess your vulnerability to competition? 5 questions, very quickly. 5 questions. First question, do your buyers have access to effective substitutes that are readily available? The answer should be yes or no. That's how you assess effective substitutes. And I've just given you examples of substitutes. Instead of taking bread, you take leftovers to sort your breakfast problem. So substitutes that are readily available. Second question, are there many businesses providing similar products? So you've answered those 2 questions. How else and who else? Then the other question is, are there exit barriers, significant exit barriers for other companies to enter or exit your product space? Again, it's yes or no. What are entry barriers? Now, if you want to start making, start a business making tea, just normal tea, by lunch hour today, well, that's very, very possible. I'm sure you have the gas in your house, you have a bit of milk on the side, some water in the tap, and maybe some tea leaves that you left over from yesterday. Already, you're in the business of selling tea just like that by today lunch hour. All right, let's take an extreme example. What if you want to start an oil refinery by today lunch hour? Almost impossible. Now, that is what an entry barrier is. Some businesses, the entry barriers are very low. You just walk in and walk out at will. Others, the entry barriers are extremely high. All right. So are your products very different from what's available in the market? Are they significantly different? That's the other question you need to ask yourself to assess whether you're vulnerable to competition. The last question is market information readily available? Now, here's the thing, good people. If people can determine your product features very easily, and they can compare them, and they can know your price very easily, you're in a very competitive industry. If people are able to tell product features and price readily or easily, then you're in a generally competitive space. It doesn't mean your business is about to collapse. You just need to be aware of how competitive your business, how competitive your industry is. So the questions for yes, no, yes, yes, no. Then after that, you can be able to see how vulnerable your business is to competition. Question number 7. As we wrap it up, we have one more question. How will you get additional clients? It's a practical question for strategy. How will you get additional clients? Now, customer acquisition involves asking 3 questions. The first question is, where are your clients most likely to be found? Please don't tell me everywhere, because when you wake up in the morning to go and look for clients, you cannot go everywhere. You need to be very specific. Where are your clients most likely to be found? Second question about client acquisition. What's the best way to reach them? Online, fine. You can rest assured my grandmother is not online and she probably needs your product. So what's the best way to reach her? Okay, what's the best way to reach them? That's the second question about client acquisition. That question, when you find them, what are you going to tell them? Yeah, what's your key message to your clients? What should be? Now you know where they're likely to be found. You know the best way to reach them. Then when you find them, are you going to be tongue-tied? Or what's going to be your key message? Now, remember when we started, we talked about a value proposition. So as a rule of thumb, what I want to hear when you show up, when you find me, is I want to hear your value proposition. What difference is your product going to make? Whether it is quality or cheap, those are not relevant for me. What's relevant is value. What value am I going to derive? So your key message should talk about your value, the value that I'm going to derive. So that's client acquisition. Final question as we wrap it up. It's on your screen right there. Question number 8. In a business, you cannot survive without external partners or third parties. So which third parties do you need to deliver your client acquisition plan and your critical success factors? Very important question. Which external partners do you need to deliver your client acquisition plan and your critical success factors? So 8 questions right there for a strategy practitioner like yourself. We said strategy, as long as you're running business, you're a strategy practitioner by default. Why? Because strategy is a response to opportunities and challenges, which can be internal or external, they can be present or future. So if you're running a business, you're a strategy practitioner by default. The only difference is whether you're doing it right or wrong. And we also said that even the absence of a strategy is itself a strategy. So 8 questions for you to figure out your strategy. Number 1, what problem are you solving? Number 2, is it a problem worth solving? Number 3, who is it that has the problem? Number 4, what are the constraints? What's preventing them from solving the problem? Number 5, what will it take to deliver your value proposition? Number 6, what did you say? It's number 6. How will you survive competition? Then you have your client acquisition plan. And then finally, you need to figure out the external partners that you need to deliver your client acquisition plan and your critical success factors. So allow me to stop there and take questions. So that is a summary of what we've been doing. What problem are you solving? For who? What's your value proposition? Then you figure out your critical success factors, and then the decisions to give effect to the critical success factors, and then you have your customer acquisition process. So value proposition, critical success factors, customer acquisition process. If you can tick those 3, you're well on your way to having an effective strategy. So allow me to stop there. Do you have any questions? Over to you, Paul.
Thank you very much. You're a very powerful teacher, and you made it within that. I was worried whether you will manage to compress this, because I know this. You managed it within that minute. That was fantastic. Okay, we can start with a question here where June was asking. You talked of cheap and affordable. What is the difference? You may comment.
Well, one is more elegant, but they both mean the same. It's a question of elegance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's great. Now, number 2 is why is it that many SMEs think they don't need professional help to deliver value to their customers? That is from Jackie.
Excellent question right there, Jackie. I also asked myself, I've also been asking myself the same questions. But you can see, generally speaking, the business owner thinks that they know everything or can know everything. But sometimes it's just an issue of cost. There's something that is very common for SME owners. It's called overconfidence bias. Just that feeling that you can solve every problem that comes your way. But the only problem you can solve well is a problem that you're trained or have experience around. For instance, you could be a very good baker. Maybe because of training, you've baked since you're a young girl or a young boy, but you've never set up an accounting system. Yeah. So it's probably that thing of cost, but sometimes they're not able to, and then there's overconfidence bias, but sometimes even professionals, and we can blame ourselves. We're actually not able to articulate our value proposition. We show up and say, I'm a consultant. So what if you're a consultant? Then what if you're a consultant? What difference are you going to make? And then will the difference that you're going to make a real difference? Is it important for me? So Paul, that's what I would say.
Thank you. I love that. And I think the other thing would also be, what do you tell them? What's the message? You know the people, you know where they are found, but then now, what do you tell them?
It's the same question. Yes, you know the value you can, you know where to get me. Then when you show up, you start talking about how your product is unique, not how you're going to solve a problem for me.
Yeah. Thank you. Then somebody is, that is Dr. Nicholas Mwangi. Wow, this is likely asking yourself deeply. What business am I in? Thank you for this. That's just a comment. But then somebody, Wangoi Shamala, has asked, what next after I answer these questions?
That's a good question. What next? You think you have the right strategy? That is what is next. Based on the questions, do you think you have the right strategy? And if you don't have the right strategy, I am sure there are certain steps that you can take from there. Yes. So the first thing is, do you think you have the right strategy? Yes or no? If yes, then you can move on from there. If no, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, and if you have a strategy that is followed this channel, then of course you are making money, you're creating wealth, and you're happy. So you are home and dry, no problem. If you are struggling, if you are struggling, then it means there is something that may need to be tweaked. Yeah. Where is the budget and financial projections placed within the 8 strategies mentioned? Somebody
Excellent
can
question.
yeah.
It's placed on the three areas. Delivery of the value proposition has financial implications. Your critical success factors has financial implications, and especially client acquisition. And then there are not 8 strategies, there are 8 questions. Timothy.
There was that statement that you made also. Is it good for your business?
Is it
That,
good for your business? Exactly.
yes,
Is it good for your business? So value proposition is one of the aspects where you figure out, is it good for business? You're talking about, is it feasible technologically and operationally? And then after that, of course, you still need to step back and ask, am I going to make money? Is it good for your business? Yes.
yeah.
But
So,
Timothy, again, it was not 8 strategies. It was 8 questions to help you to
yes.
build a strategy.
Mm.
Yes.
So if it is good for your business, you are able to project. That is good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why is it that the skills of running a business correctly is not taught in our schools? Well, we also don't know. We don't teach in school, but anyway, yeah. There
Well,
is
if I
need to
gave that answer, I'll probably be speculating. I do not know. I am not sure.
yeah,
But I think what Elizabeth is saying is that she's discovered that there are some things around what we've discussed today that should have been taught in school. Maybe that's what she's trying to say. So I do
true,
not know why.
true. But
Yeah.
well, I've always thought that actual business is largely different from research business and academics. Yeah, where we are going
Yes,
to do research
yes.
and ask questions, surveys, whatever. That's why I think you love saying that. There is the theory of what we expect, hypothesis. Yes, there is the hypothesis,
Yes,
and then
yes.
there is now what we confirm to be true. Yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
is. So it's different. In many instances, consultants have no skin in the game, like somebody commented. Then great presentation, keep it up. My question
Mm-hmm.
is, why foreigners open up businesses and thrive quite fast, unlike
Mm-hmm.
our local entrepreneurs? I have my Ethiopian or Eritrean who have literally taken over Jamhuri
Mm-hmm.
Estate.
Well, that's an interesting question. Maybe they come with they've already tested the idea from where they're coming from, and they know what works and what doesn't work. Again, I'm speculating on that. I am not so sure, but also probably part of the reason is you're in a foreign country. It's a do or die kind of like situation. So probably the incentive to succeed is a lot more. I don't know. Again, I'm speculating, but think of a typical Kenyan who has some small piece of land up country. So he has an insurance policy, so to speak. If it fails, he'll just get into a matatu, go home, buy a jembe somewhere, and apitia kwa agrovet, come up with maize seeds, and he has a farm 1 hour later. I don't think foreigners have that privilege, so to speak. So I guess they don't have an insurance policy. So my guess again, is they have more incentive to succeed. For them, it's do or die.
Yeah, yeah, and of course, then it means they have a working strategy. That's a serious answer. They come with a working strategy. They don't just anticipate. Good one.
Yes.
Good question. Now, cheap, everyone can afford, affordable relative to one's income level. Mercedes is affordable to billionaires. Well, those are still comments related to cheap and affordability. Answering these questions will communicate if. I'm offering service on agroecology market enterprise, i.e. capacity building. My question is, how do I monopolize? I think that is more personal question. You can reach out to Kiriinya. Kiriinya, you will
Yes.
put your number there. What
Okay,
are
I'll
the
put my number
three
right away.
Yes. What are the top three critical success factors in a service industry, and which one, if ignored, can lead to stagnation of business? That's quite technical question from Dr. Melvin. Maybe that would be the last one, then we close it because of time.
Yeah, Melvin, very interesting question. But I'd like to say for services industry, processes are very, very key. If you get your processes wrong, like if you're running your dentistry and you get your processes wrong, you'll not get the results that you're looking for. So for me, those are very, very key in the services industry, getting your processes and structure right. That's one big one. And then the other one is the kind of tools or methodologies that you use, the tools that you use. It's absolutely important to get that right in the service industry. You have correct tools, you have correct methodology, and then I think those are the two that I think are absolutely critical. And then the other one, of course, is access to people. In the service industry, you know that services are created and consumed at the same time, like I'm doing now. I'm rendering a service. It's created and consumed at the same time. So if you don't have a methodology for that, if you don't have the tools for that and the people for that, then of course your ability to deliver a service will be severely hampered. Those are the three which come like top of mind. Right
Thank you.
tools, right methodology, right people.
Thank you.
Yes.
Great. Yeah, Odhiambo Ali is also commenting that at the beginning of the year, he had a strategy to convert his kitchen poultry farming to commercial, but then he brought a jogo that had virus and they were all wiped. So he's reviving his strategy. Yeah. Sorry about that. Okay. I see David Ndolo wants to make a comment. David, you can do that in 30 seconds, then we move on because of time.
All right.
Okay, thank you
there's
so
a
much.
hand raised by Dave.
Thank you very much for the presentation.
Yes.
Yeah, let me just keep it to the meeting because you know we can go on and on. But I think what you've talked about speaks to me in a big way. But for the other people who may also have a similar situation, many times we have these beautiful ideas. But for us here, say at Power Monday or at Rongai Hub, which is also one of the partnering initiatives, how do we bring some of these ideas? You've asked about 8 questions. What about just the first 1, 2, 3? So that then we are able to walk from a position of not knowing at all and then going through a series of being able to first recognize and appreciate what it is we are talking about. Because I think a lot of businesses fail within, say, the first 6 months or a year. Why? Because some of these very deep issues are not addressed. So how do we simplify this process so that we become a community of people who realize that without strategy, there's no way you're going? I hope that question makes sense. Thank you.
Right. Paul.
I think that's a very loaded question. We may not handle. We have 4 minutes and we have a few things to do. we can see how to shelve it. I don't know, unless you have one statement you can make.
Okay. Very well. Maybe Paul, what I can say is at Wild International Strategy is our core product. So
yes.
if anyone wants to reach out, we always begin with strategy. And why we do that is we've realized Dave has alluded to the fact that there's a very high failure rate as far as SMEs are concerned, 60% of them failing within the first year or something like that. But we've discovered there are most of those failures, 83%, 87% of business failures are actually management failures. They are linked to the kind of decisions you make as a business owner. So which is why we said our core product is going to be strategy, and we're going to focus on owner-managed businesses, because the owner is a manager who is going to make decisions that are going to either make the business succeed or fail. So maybe just to ask anyone who would like to reach out, can actually reach out, and we can figure out how to help their strategy work for them, either in a cohort basis or individual. But individual is better. But yeah, I think that's what I can say, Paul.
Thank you. Thank you
Over to
very
you.
much.
Okay.
Thank you, Noel.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That was a great and awesome presentation. Thank you so much, Mr. Kithinji. I will definitely be giving you a call. Asante sana. Now I call upon Dr. Maurice Omondi to give us the vote of thanks.
Noela, thank you so much, Kiriinya Kithinji, for this excellent presentation this morning. Thank you so much. I actually, as I was following it through, for me, I noted that this can work for both people in the business sector, profit sector, as well as even those in the non-profit sector. So I really want to thank you so much. You asked 7+1 question, the 8 questions, which were very, very relevant. Like, what is the problem? Why is it a problem? To who? How are you addressing it? Are you able to solve it? And there's something also I picked from your presentation. Do not fall in love with your product. Let the market or the clients do. So sometimes we are so perplexed about what we are selling. We really like it so much, but we don't know whether the market we are targeting are interested in it or like it. And also like the analogy or really looking at what is competition, using the example of bread. And, sometimes you are looking at the next company producing bread and thinking that is the main competition, not knowing that or forgetting that people try to solve the breakfast problem in other ways. And this reminded me of something somebody shared a couple of years ago, that they asked a question like, what is the main competition to Kenya Airways during that time? And everybody cited all these other companies that offer airline services. And the speaker surprised people by saying that, yeah, that could be competition, but the main competition for the likes of Kenya Airways is actually the internet, and the internet has actually come to pass by as an alternative. Like even what we're doing now, you don't have to go to attend a workshop in order to, get services. You don't have to travel. So, and you also shared with us about understanding what the competition and even comparators, and even the partners we need to look at, as well as coming up with a client acquisition plan. So this talk has been very relevant. I actually could say at one point we hit the maximum mark. Many people were in the waiting room requesting to join, but we had it's like a privileged space. So if you are late, you miss the opportunity. So we had more than 100 people coming in, and even now we are still more than 80 of us. So just to demonstrate how appropriate and relevant this topic has been. So I just want to thank you so much, Kiriinya Kithinji, for the excellent talk. And also want to thank you so much, Otieno Paul Peter, Lady Noel, our poet, and Dr. Lucita, for the talk, for the poem when we started about the clock. And just reminding us that we are now in August, and just the other day we began the year. And we have to keep on running with the time as it goes. And so thank you so much, the team behind Power Monday, Odhiambo Lale, there is Dr. Melvin, and everybody else. So thank you so much, and have a good day. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Maurice Omondi. Maurice Omolo. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Is Antonia in the house for admin? And then as we wait for Antonia to either come on or unmute, I was reading nowadays I'm so invested in quantum physics. Okay, I'm so invested in quantum physics, and I was reading about time. And so time doesn't move, but we are the one who go through it. We are the one who go through it. So if we are the ones who go through it, then I think we are going through time at a very high speed. we should slow down.
Okay,
If
Antonia.
you want to know more about quantum physics, get in touch. Antonia,